Welcome to the new channel called Fulfilled By. It's a YouTube channel to help you learn Amazon as quickly as possible. This channel moving forward will provide enough information for you to start your Amazon journey, teach you how to source, how to look at deals, how to operate your business, and lots of other things that are vitally important to kind of getting Amazon up and running and moving along. So this video today will purely be about deal analysis and how to look at a deal off the bat. It's not quite aimed at beginners, but it will still kind of pick you up from near the beginning so that you can kind of get a good grasp of how to look at something and know whether it's good to buy or not. This channel is completely free to you, no cost, and all the videos I put out will cost nothing to you. SellerAmp is the platform of my choice. There's lots of different bits of software that do exactly the same as SellerAmp. I've just used SellerAmp from the very start and I get on well with it, and it's very easy to kind of understand what's in front of you. And I think when it comes to deal analysis, I think that's the most important thing, being able to scan something or type something in and know within at least a minute or two whether that's worth a buy for you. And I think the way that SellerAmp keeps it nice and basic and minimal and simple makes it stand out from all the rest of them. There's a couple on the market that market themselves, looking flashy and having heat maps, and whilst these are all quite novelties, I think at the end of the day, the main purpose of these sort of platforms is to tell you whether you should buy it or not. So as you can see here, there's a deal in front of me right now it's just a random product that I found. So what I've done is I've put an imaginary buy price in there so you guys can kind of get a feel for what this would look like if you found it in store or online for this price. So this product here is a bit of Lego. It's one that's been floating around Asda over the last couple of weeks or so, and I think it's around that price if you were to find it on your travels. So as soon as you've scanned this item, the first thing you want to do is go, right, how am I going to know whether this product is going to sell? The first thing you want to do is you want to look at how many times a month does this product sell. So as you can see from here, it's roughly selling about 345 times a month, which is quite good, especially if it's a product and it's one of your first products you're selling. As a new seller, what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you're buying something and you've sent it into Amazon, that you're going to sell that product within a relatively quick period of time. Because when you're new and you're starting out, your cash is quite precious. You want to put it in, get it out, and reinvest it as quickly as possible. If you're buying stuff that's lower sales per month, then what's going to happen is you're going to be stuck on that money for quite a long time. It's going to slow your growth, and ultimately it's going to lead to you getting frustrated about Amazon overall. So your first indication when you scan something, the main one here is your estimated sales per month. The next thing to look at is the BSR, which stands for bestseller rank. So anything that's between 1 and 2% is seen as a good bestseller rank. The lower the bestseller rank, the better item it is. So if you find a bestseller rank of 110, that's an extremely quick moving item. If you find something that's like 500,000, the likelihood is it's slow. It's selling very, very, very slowly, and it's going to take you ages to sell. So these two here kind of go side by side. The higher the bestseller rank, usually the higher the sales will be on that listing. So that's a really key thing to take away. Now, this bit here, I've put your cost price and your sale price. This is purely just an example, but let's just say you bought this item for £11. And at the moment, the current price it's selling at is £22.98. This gives you a profit of £2.71 and a return of your investment of 24%. Now, when you're starting off and you're new to your Amazon journey, again, 24% return of investment isn't that great. You want to be looking at 30% plus. However, if something's selling very, very quickly and you can get that in, sell it within a week or so and get the money back, ROI almost isn't, it's not that you want to go lower than sort of 20%, but if you can make 24% and get that money back within a few days, there's no harm in doing that. But I would kind of stick away from, if it's low ROI and low sales, it's not worth your time and effort. By the time you've kind of spent your time packing it up, shipping it, your labels, your boxes, there isn't really much for you to get at. So as I said, when you're starting out, aim for high ROI and high sales to keep that money moving as quickly as possible. Now this profit calculator box here, what this allows you to do is to kind of, if you're buying more than one, you can kind of work out based on sort of how many you buy, how much money you're going to make. So let's just say you walked into Asda and you found, 15 different items of this. What this will do is it will automatically calculate the total that you would have paid for it, the sale of all them goods based on the sale price of £22.98, which gives you a profit of £40.65. It's a really good way of working out quickly how much you're going to make when you're buying quantity of something, especially if you've got kind of access to buying more than just one or two. It's just a good way of quick glancing and seeing how much money you're going to make as a bundle. This box here is your buy box analysis. So the way that Amazon works is, if you go onto a listing and you kind of price it, let's say $22.98, if Amazon don't see your price as competitive, then you won't win the buy box as much as someone who has a competitive price. As you can see from this listing, Amazon have very much taken most of the buy box percentage. So if we move it to 30 days, again, they're very, very, very high on the buy box. And what this means is although it's selling 345 times a month, Amazon are winning 99% of that buy box. So realistically, you're not going to get 345 times a month. You're more than likely to get between 50 and 100, and that's probably being generous as well. So you've just got to make sure that when you buy something, not only are you looking at your estimated sales per month, but actually how much of the buy box is being occupied by Amazon or another seller. If there's another seller that, let's say, that are at £22, Amazon would likely gift them the buy box because they're more competitive than Amazon themselves. So the next part is the offers tab. So this part here shows you how many people are selling on the listing currently right now. So as you can see, there's a total of 55 people selling on the listing, and that's between Amazon, 21 FBA sellers and 34 FBM sellers, which are people that ship it directly from their house rather than sending it to Amazon first. The offers here have increased, so this line here is the offers going up, the blue one. So let's move on to the next graph here. So you've got three graphs that kind of show you different bits of information. This top one, the pink line, is the buy box line. This is the line where the buy box has been price-wise over the last 3 months. So as you can see, it's been relatively steady. It hasn't dropped much in price. If anything, it's fluctuated between £20 and $22.98. So what that's telling you is the price is fairly consistent. However, when you're buying this, I would always recommend that if you're going to do some analysis on this, that you base your sell price off the lowest dip. So if we change that to £20, you'll be able to see that it's starting to get less and less profitable. 68p, it doesn't give you a lot of room, which therefore means, if people start to sort of bring the price down naturally, so you can see these people here are already less than Amazon themselves, there's not much room for you to wiggle on price. So just make sure that when you're looking at it, you don't just look at the current price, you look at the price that it's been before. And as I said, my concern would be here that Amazon have been on the listing before at £20, therefore that price could go back down to £20 and stay down at £20. So always remember, just make sure you're always looking at the worst case scenario rather than the best case scenario, because if it does go to the worst case scenario, you're well equipped and you're well aware of what's going to happen and the price that you're going to sell at. The green line here is your bestseller rank. So the lower it goes, the closer to 0 it is, which means the better. As you can see, it's gone up and up and up and up and up, and now it's going back down slightly here. One thing to remember as well is that every time you see a drop, so this to here, this to here, this to here, normally constitutes a sale. So when you're working out the sales per month, although you can see the sales up here of 345, it's always worth just having a look at how many drops you can see. Now, it doesn't mean that every single drop is a sale. Sometimes there could be multiple sales within this drop, but it gives you a rough indication if the product's selling and if it's worth buying, because you can kind of tally this up against the estimated sales above. But yeah, if you see drops like this, you can pretty much guarantee that the item is selling. Count how many drops there are, and it just gives you an indication of how many sales alongside the estimated figure up above is. This new middle graph here is a newly introduced feature by SellerAmp, and basically what this is doing is it's taking the data directly from the Amazon search page. So it's saying here that this product sells 200 times a month based off what Amazon are giving to SellerAmp as data. Again, there are different checkpoints that you can use, and when you're looking at a deal, you should always be cross-referencing against different parts of data. You should never really go off one part of data because it could be wrong. So if you're using a combination of sort of 2 or 3 bits of data, you're more than likely going to get to the figure that's going to give you the best accurate data out of it. And then the bottom one here is kind of the final one really. So this is the thing I'll touch on in a little bit more detail. So this line here that's going up is the review count. Now if an item is getting reviews, it usually means that that item is selling, because it means customers are leaving reviews on the items, which means they're being bought. If you can see reviews going up quite a lot, so say you went to the beginning of May, let's say from here, so let's just say there, so 164, and now it's currently at 175. So that's quite a lot of reviews in a short space of time, which would indicate that the item is selling quite a lot. So there's a ratio that, for an item, if something sells 80 times, you'll roughly get about 1 to 2 reviews. So you can take that formula with a pinch of salt, but if you see a lot of reviews, you can pretty much tell that that item is selling quite quickly. And then the other one to really keep an eye on is the offer count here. The offer count basically tells you how many people are on the listing. So one thing you have to be careful of is if a listing shows this where it's quite straight and then all of a sudden it's starting to go up like this, what's happening is that item has been pinged in a Discord group, or it's been found on a retail arbitrage trip. And as you can see here, you can see the dip where it's slightly going down and up, and the price is starting to be a little bit sort of jumpy. And that is a common thing when the offer count goes up and you can see the sellers are going up. That is a prime example where the price starts to come down. So before you buy something, just make sure that it's not been a sharp increase in sellers, because it could affect how the product's going to sell over the very short term and long term. There's been times when I've bought something, haven't realised that sellers are going up, and then you're stuck on stock for a long time because the price starts to come down. You can't make profit and you don't want to sell for a loss, so you just have to be very wary of that. Then you've got this alerts panel here. So this alerts panel tells you sort of any key information about a product. So this is more sort of common when you sort of buying dangerous goods and hazmat, so things like glue, paint, stuff like that. So if you scan something or you're looking for something online, you come across it and it's either got hazmat or dangerous goods, just consider that there's a different way that these items have to be shipped sometimes. So if it's hazmat, like sprays and glues, they usually have to go on their own shipment, and you have to use a non-partnered delivery to Amazon. You have to organise it yourself. So it's just a little bit more hard work. Just bear that in mind. It's not hard, but it's just a little different from your usual process of shipping stuff to Amazon. And then finally, you've got the Keeper box here. So this Keeper box, if you click the graph, it will take you to Keeper. Keeper is a very, very good bit of software. It gives you much more data than SellerAmp. It tells you just a ton of metrics that you just don't get out of SellerAmp. I mean, I pay for Keeper separately. It's about 16 quid a month. I think it is, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. If you don't have it, it's worth getting. I'll do a separate video around Keeper because it's an absolute crazy good bit of software that you must learn, and you can get so much more out of it. But I will touch upon it in a different video. But that's always there for me to be able to click, which takes me to Keeper, and then I can do more sort of data analysis. So in summary then, I just want to go through. So as I said to you, you've got your quick view here that tells you a very quick snippet of the product, how much it sells, what your profit will be. You've got the next box here, which is your profit calculator. You can add multiple figures in there to give you a kind of total profit. You've got the buy box analysis box here, which means you can see how much Amazon or other sellers share the buy box. As I said, if someone's got more than sort of 90% buy box winning, you just need to be careful that you can be competitive at the price they're selling. Otherwise, the sales that are shown over here could be much, much less than what's kind of, said there. You've got your average prices. So if you click here, you've got average 30-day, 90-day, and 180-day. So whenever you're looking at a product, always make sure that you're not just looking at the current price. You look at the 30-day average and the 90-day average as well. And also have a look at all time, because it can give you a good kind of inkling of what's going on. You've got the offers, how many people are selling, their prices, how much stock they've got. As I said, if you click here, you can see how much they've got. And if you click further down, it will count up all the stock from the top down, so you can work out how much stock people have got as a total. And it just means you know what you're sort of up against when it comes to selling your items. You've got your alerts part here, so if it's hazmat or dangerous goods, such as sprays, paints, glue, stuff like that, it will tell you in there. So there you have it. That's just an overview of SellerAmp. I've gone over it in a little bit of detail to kind of show you what is what within SellerAmp, what data it can give you, just the kind of things to be wary of, looking at your sellers, the average prices over the 30 and 90 days, and just gives you an overview of SellerAmp and what it has to offer. As I said, sometimes people don't like it because it's quite basic in the way that it looks, but actually it's a good platform and it gives you everything you need to be able to look at something and decide whether you want to buy it. As I said, All the information I give is free and will always be free moving forward. I will never charge for any of the videos or any of the content I put out. All I ask is that if you like SellerAmp and you currently don't have a deal analysis tool, have a look at SellerAmp. I'll link my affiliate link in my bio along with the description. And as I said, I'd be very, very grateful that if you do use it, it will give me a small amount back and it will help me create more videos in the future. I hope you've enjoyed watching today. If you've got any questions, all of my socials will be below. Please feel free to give me a message. And if there's anything I can do to help, give me a shout. Thanks for watching.